Today, we are digging into a really critical new report from the Afghanistan Women's Rights Watch. Its findings for 2025 paint a picture of a situation that has gone way beyond just simple restrictions. So, let's get right into it. The report kicks off with this incredibly powerful statement, and really, it's the core idea of the whole thing. It's arguing that what's going on isn't just a series of random, terrible events, but a very deliberate, systematic process to completely erase women from public life. And to even describe this system, the report uses a very specific, very heavy term: structural gender apartheid. This isn't just about discrimination anymore. We're talking about building an entire framework, both legally and socially, to systematically deny half the population its most basic rights. So you might be asking, what makes this report so powerful? Well, it's not based on opinions. It is built on a solid foundation of verified, documented evidence. Let's take a look at what that evidence actually is. The entire report is built around this number, 411. That's 411 individually verified and documented cases of rights violations, all in just 1 year. But the authors make a really crucial point. Because of all the restrictions on reporting, this number, 411, is almost certainly just the tip of the iceberg. And the goal here is super important. This isn't just a list of tragedies. Think of it more like an analytical tool. It's designed to dissect how this crisis is built, to look at all the ripple effects, and to basically demand that the world pays attention. Okay, so let's get into the numbers. And I have to say, the statistics we're about to see are pretty stark. They really illustrate the sheer scale of the violence that's being tracked. Let's start with the most extreme, 76. That's not just a number. That is 76 women who were intentionally murdered, and every single case was documented and verified for this report. And beyond that, the report documents 130 cases of public floggings. This is a kind of punishment that's designed not just to inflict pain, but to cause public humiliation. Then you have the violence of just not knowing. 72 confirmed cases where women were just taken with no legal process and disappeared. Their families have no idea where they are. And all of this pressure, it leads to an invisible crisis. This number, 32, speaks volumes about the psychological toll. 32 documented cases of suicide among women, which the report directly links to just overwhelming despair and feeling like there's no future. Now this is maybe one of the most damning pieces of data in the whole report. Of those 411 cases, a staggering 258 of them, that's almost 63%, got no official response at all. No investigation, no accountability. It creates this cycle of impunity where the violence is just allowed to happen again and again. But the report finds that this isn't just random. It actually goes a step further and identifies a very specific group of people that is being targeted more than any other. Let's see who that is. And this chart just makes it crystal clear. Look at those numbers. Over 2/3 of all the violations, 338 out of 411, were against young women between 18 and 34. The report points out that this is the educated generation, many of whom were in college or just starting their careers when everything changed. So what does this targeting actually look like? Well, you can think of it as a two-pronged attack. On one side, you have the direct physical violence. They face the most detentions, the most public punishments. And on the other side, you have the systematic destruction of their future by kicking them out of universities and firing them from their jobs. So, at the same time as this direct violence is happening, the report documents another strategy running in parallel: the total dismantling of any system that was ever in place to protect women. And this is happening methodically, step by step. Access to health services is cut off. Women's shelters are shut down. The laws that protected them are literally erased. And then, the final blow, requiring a male guardian for even the most basic tasks, leaving women with absolutely nowhere to turn for help. And don't think for a second this is just a localized issue. The data shows it is a nationwide crisis. In Kabul, the biggest issue was arbitrary detentions. In Nangarhar, it was murders. In Kandahar, it was cutting off access to basic services. So the methods might be different from place to place, but the pattern is national. So, what does this all add up to? Well, the report's final section zooms out to look at the devastating long-term consequences, and not just for women, but for the entire nation. This right here is the report's core warning. The systematic elimination of women from society is not an issue you can put in a box. It is, fundamentally, a crisis of national development, of stability, and even of survival. And you can just see the domino effect here. You take half the population out of the economy, of course it's going to get weaker. Poverty goes up. You lose a huge part of your skilled workforce. You get a massive public health crisis, and society itself starts to fracture. These consequences are total, and they're going to be felt for generations. And so, in the end, the report leaves all of us with this one unavoidable question. It's not just about the tragedy of today, but about the active dismantling of a country's entire tomorrow. It really challenges the world to stop and consider the true, long-term cost of looking away.